There's big doings in Memphis, a big day for the police department, and even bigger for the schoolboy safety patrol. 1,000 lusty, husky throats cheering wildly in the parade to celebrate a great safety record. For 15 years, Memphis boys and girls have been going to and from school day after day without a single fatality. Not even a serious accident in 15 years. Credit for this great record goes to the traffic monitors, members of the schoolboy patrol system, like this one, who guard the thousands of crossings before and after school. He always looks both ways before crossing the street, and then goes the safe old saying, one better, by blowing his whistle and pushing the button too. Another monitor warns approaching traffic of the lights, which by this time have all turned red. Motorists step on the brakes and all traffic comes to a sudden halt. Some responsible job, this monitoring business. Of course, this afternoon shift is a snap. Mornings when it's tough, because for some strange reason, these young pedestrians are much more anxious to get away from school in the afternoon than they are to get to class in the morning. For sale, one horseless carriage with 4-man top and whippletree, tires good as new, except for a little rust. What'll you offer? But say, no fooling, there's big news going around Chippewa County in northern Michigan. For old Joe Williburton finally sold his last pair of geldings, then traded his Sunday go-to-meet in Surrey for a snappy new 1939 motor car. Hot ziggity, boys, ain't she a dandy? Gosh, all fish hooks, better get going and show the missus. Get up, Geraldine. No, not that way, Joe. Here's the get app right here under the wheel. And see there, it's just as easy to work as it used to be to the old team. Now, Geraldine was a fine old nag. Dependable, economical, and durable. But Geraldine was never like this, in spite of all her great features. Remember how she used to falter now and then on the old Pine Tree Hill? Poor old Jerry. She was usually pretty speedy, too, but after all, only 1 horsepower. So even old Joe Williburton finally gets around to putting his horsepower under a hood. There'll be no holding him now, except, of course, when...
Doggone these farmers anyhow.
One side there, friend. Here comes, and there goes Kid Williburton, the new Chippewa County Flash. Down a Lone Star Trail, through rough and barren Texas rolling hills dotted with mesquite, in Indian file rolls a strange caravan of men and motor trucks. Red flags flap in the hot, dry, sun-scorched breeze, flapping a warning of danger. A strange caravan indeed. Man-made camels pause for gasoline, though like real camels, they too go days without water. As cargo, these trucks carry 700 quarts of soup. Extra strong soup, as a matter of fact, for in addition to being called soup, it is also known as glycerol trinitrate, or more simply, nitroglycerin, the most powerful known commercial explosive in the world, nearly twice as strong as dynamite. With such a cargo, it's easy to see why the drivers are never bothered with hitchhikers. The boys don't work too fast because they always remember that famous old saying, try to be the oldest soup handler in the business, not the fastest. And even so, at any speed, it's too fast for most folks. For about 2/3 of a cup of this soup could blow the average house, barn, or garage somewhere into the middle of next Thursday. The full 700 quarts going off at once probably wouldn't even leave anybody around close enough to hear the boom. That's why they dip it in oil before loading the casing. Even the friction caused by sliding it in dry might easily cause an explosion. Careful, boys, it's bad luck, you know, to stumble with one of those loaded casings. Into the last one goes the time clock bomb, set to explode in exactly 1 hour. They allow a full hour because the casing may get stuck on its way down. And if it does, they'll have to get it loose, pull it all the way back up, and disconnect the clock again before it sets off the time bomb. An hour for that job is none too much when you're playing with 700 quarts of nitroglycerin. Down, down, down it goes, 4,000 feet into the earth. 1 hour later, there's a sharp click in the ground underfoot. Tons of oil which were poured into the well to hold down the charge begin to bubble, then foam, then roar skyward. Then comes the gas, raining rocks through the steel rig with all the clatter of 100 machine guns. Success! But even before the roaring gusher is capped, motors begin to sing again, and the strange caravan heads off across the Texas plains on its way to the next job. Howdy, Professor. Won't you drop in for a spot of tea? No, thanks, boys, but here's a tip on that English assignment I made this afternoon. Yes, it's Professor Hill in person, but he doesn't surprise the boys at Valley Forge Military School anymore, for he's been high-stepping about the campus for so many years now, they're getting mighty used to it. Professor Hill has made a hobby of hobbling about on poles for some 20 years or more. Hobbling to music is even more fun, especially when you can punch out a station or two as easily as this. It's as simple as pressing a piano key, and it takes much less practice. Just incidentally, these particular stilts are the highest in the world, 18 feet. And they come in mighty handy on a Saturday afternoon when there's a bit of painting to be done around the eaves. No ladders to move, no trouble at all. In fact, he doesn't even have to stand aside for traffic that sometimes crowds the driveway. Even the youngest member of the family is up to 5-footers. Well, it's guaranteed fun if you stay vertical. Something like poling a boat up and down a river without a boat. Fire, by cracky, and in Flatfoot Flossie's stall. Call the wagon. What? No fire? Nary a spark. Just Flossie herself enjoying her evening pipe and that famous storybook about the cat, a fiddle, and one of Flossie's ancestors. Hi diddle diddle, don't stop to fiddle. Come on out, Flossie, and stir up a little buttermilk. So these are the dishes that ran away with the spoon. Well, Flossie would rather munch ginger snaps than jump over a moon. And she always likes to let her dinner settle a bit before exercising. Come on, get going, Flossie. All it really takes is a little coaxing. Jitterbug, swing it, sister, mow 'em down. And oh yes, Flossie can also do the conventional thing, give milk, although she still hasn't learned how to sit on the little bottles. Shades of Robin Hood. The modern girl sets her eye on a bullseye. And watch this, without touching the egg. Aha, so this is the guy. No, the girls aren't quite this good yet. But after all, the instructor is always supposed to be better than his students, isn't he? Now, you can take the bow in either hand. Well, that's not quite it. Here, try it this way. This hand, these fingers, chest out, chin in. Ah, now that's more like it. That's the way to shoot 'em straight and shoot 'em far. And speaking of straight shooting, get a load of this one. After turning the front wheels to the left as far as they'll go, he ties the steering wheel tight like this with a piece of twine. Shockproof string, you might say. And away he goes, off to show ye fair maidens there are a few tricks about archery yet to be learned. Dear girls, equipment for this one includes one bow, one quiver of arrows, a car with a stabilized front end, and oh yes, if you expect to line up a row of hits like this, be sure you include lots and lots of practice. That's all, girls. Dear Mr. Instructor, you're wonderful, but you're still only the second best archer in the world. Have you ever heard of a little fellow by the name of Dan Cupid?